Hey, everybody. Welcome to the On the Level Leadership podcast. If you're new here, welcome. So happy to have you. And for those of you who are returning, thanks again for being here. As you know, on this channel, we're all about a no-nonsense approach to leadership and development and growth so that you can be the best leader you can be, so you can grow in your career and hopefully make your organization fun and interesting to work for and in. And actually today's super good, because super fun, super exciting for me, because I'm welcoming my colleague and friend here, Coach Sean. And Coach is a leadership coach. Sean is a leadership coach. Apparently, I haven't had enough coffee this morning, so I'll just keep drinking. Coach Sean is a leadership coach with years of experience helping leaders to learn and grow. And if you want to be creative and innovative, his perspective and his thinking, and of course I understand and support this, is that you need a coach that uses creative and innovative ways and techniques. So Sean uses Lego Serious Play to help leaders unlock new insights and perspectives to enhance their leadership skills. With Lego Bricks as a tool to enhance the coaching process, Sean works with leaders to explore complex ideas, develop new perspectives, and generate unique solutions to their most pressing challenges. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's what a great intro. Sounds cool.
Yeah.
It just in case it happens, my house is getting painted at the moment, and if my dogs see one of the painters at the window, they might freak out. So
It's fine. I mean, this
so
is the
you
thing.
know, we're live and we're real, right? So
Right. It's all good. And that's what life's all about, right? It is about those real
absolutely.
moments. So welcome. I'm super excited to have you here. Before we get kind of started, I just wanted to share with folks real quick. I'm going to get you to introduce yourself sort of from a perspective of who you are, where you are, that kind of thing. But I just want to say that I'm super excited to do this, because one of the things that for folks who've never been coached before, this is a really great introduction to a fun version of it. And I think that coaching sometimes gets this sort of bad rap of being very kind of precise and methodical and maybe almost borderline therapy, but this is a very different spin. So before we kind of get started on giving people a bit of a sample taste of what this is, maybe give a sense of who you are and what kind of brought you to this Lego Serious Play as a form of technique for you as a coach.
Sure. So I'll start with who Sean is as a person, whether or
Yeah,
not the moniker coach or whatever is in front of it.
for sure.
I live in Cumming, Georgia, which, if you don't know Georgia, you can just say it's north of Atlanta. I'm a little bit north of Atlanta. I'm married to my wife, Tess, and we've got 4 kids, the youngest of which is 25 and still at home. The other 3 are gone. So we're this close to being empty nesters. My career background is in leading research and development, mostly in the medical device space. So that's kind of that background. How did I get into coaching? And then that will kind of go to how did we get into Legos? I got into coaching at church one day. I was walking across the courtyard and somebody ran over and said, "Sean, how would you like to go skiing for free?" And I live in Georgia, so skiing it's not something you get to do a lot. And I'd never been. And I was like, free, huh? Tell me more.
Yeah,
I'm interested. And they
right.
said, well, we're going on a youth trip. And one of the van drivers just called out sick. And so all you have to do to go skiing is drive 14 hours in a van with 15 teenagers.
Right.
Other than that, you're good to it's free. I'm like,
Right.
okay, that's not free. But anyway, so I
Yeah.
didn't want the kids to miss their trip. I did it. I went. Not only did I drive the van, and this was a church event, but I got involved in connecting with the kids on the trip, hearing about their life and where they are, and
Hmm.
then really starting to minister and let me say coach to them of,
Hmm.
what do they do next in life? How do they get around this problem? How do they think through this? And I was hooked on both youth ministry and coaching at that moment. And so from there it grew. On the professional side, at that same time, I was launching a small company. We were doing research and development, creating devices, and I got more into engineering leadership. And so I brought that coaching, guiding others in both work and church life, and it just kind of grew from there. The way I found Legos, one of the things I got into in engineering is called Agile. And there was an exercise around just using Legos to pretend to build a computer kind of thing. And I just liked the tactile nature of using
Mm,
your hands.
right.
And from there, I found this thing called Lego Serious Play, which is all about the science that when your hands are moving, more of your brain is turned on. So
Right.
very literally, you're smarter when your hands are moving. And so integrating that into coaching and the generating insights from within your own mind while you're moving is all connected and fantastic. So that's
Yeah,
that's
and
the
who doesn't like
background.
playing with Lego? I don't know too many people who don't enjoy Lego, honestly. I it's
I
funny because
don't, but I'll tell you, I've done workshops and things where, I get in a room with leaders and, we're talking 30, 40, even 50-year-old
right,
old people, and some of them have never touched a Lego in their life.
right.
And the first time I found it, it blew my mind. I was like, what do you mean you've never touched a Lego? But I now know it happens. It's not
Yeah.
super common, but it doesn't surprise me anymore.
Yeah, and Lego's not exactly a cheap toy, so there's a lot of people that financially just can't afford to buy these big
Yeah.
sets, but, I participated in a session very similar to this, a few months ago, and it was my first introduction to this serious play sort of format, and I was resistant at first because I thought, "How are we gonna do this? Like, how are we gonna show these concepts with this Lego?" But by the end of it, I actually saw the magic of it, so this is great. So just so you know, I did get my
All
Lego
right.
pack. So I am ready to go. And one of the things that we wanted to do, and I think this was a great suggestion you made, was to sort of demonstrate sort of how you work a client through this process of working through with Lego in a coaching way. Now, to be quite transparent, I don't even know if I have a coaching question today, but for
Okay.
myself, I mean, but we'll just go with it and see where it goes.
We'll roll and see what happens.
Yeah,
Now, a lot of times you did give me a tidbit just now that you did a Lego Serious Play exercise recently. So did you do the build a tower and then you built a model based on a picture and then you changed that to be a nightmare
yeah.
teammate or something like that?
Right. No, it was actually much more, I would say, creative even from the start, where the facilitator said, just build anything. Oh, no, I said, build a bridge, just everybody build
Okay.
a
Yep.
bridge. Right. And so that was just to kind of get the juices going in terms of creativeness. And then once we built the bridge, then he started asking questions around how would you demonstrate XYZ and kind of
Okay.
went down the path of the facilitated session for the entire day. Like we did this all day. It wasn't
Yeah,
just for,
we will
yeah.
do. I typically will do a half a day or
Right.
full day sessions for team building or strategy creation or something like that.
Right.
And the reason I ask is the first step is always just build a tower. Just touch
Yeah.
the Legos and do something because
Right.
some
Right.
people, like I said, they've never touched them. That would take just the what we call the warm up exercise is like 45 minutes. So we're gonna skip that and just
Right.
say you already know how to build Legos. You've even been introduced to what we call building a metaphor. So build
Right.
something that represents the nightmare teammate. Build something that represents the ideal working environment. So you're not literally building the environment, you're building things that represent. So just keep in your mind, this represents is the key phrase. Oh, this
Gotcha.
stick represents vision or goal or whatever.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Right. So I'm trying not to resist it again today. I have to be quite transparent, but I'm actually kind of excited. So just so you know, I'm going to show on a side camera I have here the little package. I haven't even opened it yet because I
Okay.
wanted to wait for your direction. I wasn't sure what to do
Well,
with it.
and oh, maybe I messed up. That packet usually I send a PDF that it says self-guided introduction. That way
Gotcha.
somebody doesn't, we don't spend 45 minutes kind of introducing. So I have a PDF that goes with that walks you through and then says, okay, now once you've done that, reach out to me and I'll take you to the next step.
You may have
So
sent it. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm
that's okay.
yeah.
We're
So
going
then
to
I
make
just
it
open
work.
the
It's all
bag
good.
then and just sort of dump them on the table,
Yep.
or
Just
okay,
just dump
perfect,
them out on the table. We're good.
awesome, awesome. You know, the thing that I love is that when coaches use creative techniques like this, it just I don't know, it just opens pathways. Like I just anyway, this kind of excites me. What can I say?
Yeah, it makes something. All right, so let's try to fish for a topic. What's going on in your life right now? What
Oh, geez. Okay, so right now, I guess I'm in building the business development mode. I guess that
Okay.
would be what I'm where I am at right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Interesting. So how about if you think, don't talk, just listen for a second, but think through your ideal client. Who's that niche that you're after? Okay. And grab some random Legos and start to put something together that represents
Ooh.
5 characteristics of your ideal client. Don't think too hard. Don't have a meeting with yourself. Let your hands move, play with the Legos, connect pieces, and just kind of
I love
see
that
what
phrase.
evolves.
Don't have a meeting with yourself.
That's a phrase I use a lot. Don't have a
Oh my
meeting with
gosh.
yourself.
Five things you want me to do?
Five
Okay, so I've got
characteristics.
five characteristics. Oh, geez. Okay, so we'll do. Let's see. We'll do one, two. let's see here. We've got,
And inspiration works both ways. So your
yeah,
thought inspires you what Lego to use, and you might see a Lego that inspires a thought. So that can go both ways.
this is quite an interesting little character with the thing on the head.
There you go.
So there we go. Okay, so then we'll do. It's funny because I see all this Lego and I'm like, I don't. Okay, let's see. We've got one, two, three. Oh gosh, how do I represent that perspective? Okay, well, you know what? I'll just do this because that's just to get us started. Let's not overthink this. And
Yep.
then, oh, wait, I got an idea. All right, so we'll do that and that and let's see. Okay, so all right, I think I have my 5
All
concepts.
right.
I
Let's
think.
let's see our masterpiece.
Okay, so I've
Let's
got
see what
this one little tiny piece here.
Oh
It's
wait,
for just
put them.
oh,
Make it all one
oh,
model,
one
right?
piece?
This is
Okay,
one
cool, cool. One
person,
model.
one thing. There should
Okay.
be a plate you could just put them all on if that's all you need to
Yeah,
do.
yeah, 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 it's fine. Okay, so fair enough. Misunderstood the cue there, so we'll just keep
No,
building here.
unclear directions on my part. Totally, totally.
Okay, so you know what? Like what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do it this way instead. And all right, so there's my little
Nice.
model here.
All right. So
All right.
using the model as a reference,
Yep.
tell me your 5 characteristics.
All right. So for this piece here, so she is it's a she. So
Okay,
I
I was about to
typically
point that out.
try to typically work with women or women people who identify as women. Okay, that's from a gender perspective, and they're typically very sort of in touch with their feminine side.
Okay.
They understand sort of what they bring to the table. And this is her here, and she's very like very connected with her purpose,
Okay, connected to
connected
a
to her
higher
purpose.
purpose, so it's up.
Yep.
I like it.
And
Okay,
understands that she brings value. She's also very family oriented, which these things, the two little eyes sort of represent family, sort of
okay,
understands the importance of family and relationships. She is the bridge underneath here that you see. That's sort of like she has strength and resilience, right, in terms of her bridge. And then this here is just like a tower of as you go up in your so she's career driven because she
okay,
goes up in levels and this is kind of like her I want to say ego because that kind of has a negative connotation, but that's sort of her career driven self kind of at the top
okay,
here. Yeah, so that's
okay.
my little model.
Interesting. It's interesting to me that the family is on top of the bridge.
Yeah, that's interesting that you point that out. And it's funny because she sees herself sort of higher than the family, not from an ego perspective, but just as like the leader of the family, the one that kind of oversees things. Um, and yeah, the family's on the bridge because she's the strength and resilience and keeps the family kind of afloat, if you will.
Okay,
Right?
okay.
Yeah.
The other thing I think is interesting about the model is the family is
Mhm.
between her and her work career.
You know what's really funny? I didn't even think about that. That's a subconscious thing
Okay,
because, right. So that's the struggle for us women, actually. And it's something I coach ladies for and with or through is the notion of connecting their feminine family and somehow being able to still rise in their career. There's a bit of a sometimes it feels like a bridge too far, not to quote a movie, but that's
okay,
kind of what it feels like sometimes because it's not that the family gets in the way, but it's most certainly something that influences how fast she goes up the chain or the choices she makes just based on societally how we're raised, how we're socialized currently, that kind of thing.
okay. So, eh, is it fair to say then maybe this model is your ideal client when they find you because
Yeah.
they're
Yeah, because
between.
they're sort of stuck between the notion of family and career and whether or not they can have both. I think
Okay,
that's the worry is that they can't have both, and so, yeah, I would say that that's probably where they're at when I meet them.
okay,
Yeah.
interesting. How would you modify the model to show what you help them achieve?
Right. Okay, so that's an interesting piece. Okay, how would I do this? Uh, well, let's see. I would probably. It's funny because it's sad because you can't really see me building, which is sort of the hard part about coaching virtually, right? Let's see. How would I represent that? Um, I would want to rather than a rather than a bridge. I'm wondering if I would want. I'm speaking out loud because
It's
this is a
okay.
podcast. After all, we don't want too much silence.
Right.
um,
And you'll go back and edit out the long building
Right, the
periods
long
anyway.
bits
So
before, exactly, for the podcast. But I'm sort of thinking right now it's a bridge, and I kind of want to, it's not a bridge too far. I want to somehow connect the two. So, what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to add the family sort of back towards the career path. And maybe what I'll do is I'm going to add the femininity piece to her family. We can talk about that after. And I'm going to bring her up here, kind of like here, like that. And then let's see, what I'm going to do is bring her career. How do I want to do this? So I think what I'll do is I'll keep building up.
so because you were talking out loud, I have a question of
Yep.
you said you're going to add the femininity to the family. And I wonder if that's not already present. What would be the power of bringing femininity to the work goals?
Yeah. So I think the power in that um, is that we have complementary skill sets, us ladies, that we sometimes think are opposing to our male counterparts, but they're actually very complementary. So things like having, for quote, I hate to use the word EI quotient, but really that's what it is. We have a level of intuitiveness just by nature of being child bearers in particular, right? We tend to see and hear things that kind of prompt us, so we're a little intuitive. So to me it's like bringing the feminine to work is about being intuitive and knowing how to communicate with others using that intuition. I'm not suggesting men don't do that, by the way, because plenty do.
No,
I'm just
sure.
suggesting that we tend to have that skill set. For some reason we have it in spades. So I'm just going to kind of
So the thrust of my question while you're still building was that I think it may be that the femininity is already brought to the family by
right.
even what you said, by nature of being the child bearer and the mom.
Right, so we could kind of add oops.
It would Your coaching is not to have them bring that to their family
Right.
most of the time. It's probably to bring that to work.
It's, maybe it's being okay to bring it to work because I think
Okay.
some of us women are afraid to do that. So you know what? In with that in mind, what I've done now is I've added the bridge, if you will. It probably should somehow connect them, but anyway, let me connect them here. Sorry, it's kinda hard to
There are
show
structural
show
issues in among the coaching issues.
Yeah, well, you know what? When you're trying to so I'll just build on the table here for a second. I think part of the challenge is that I'm trying to show while I'm doing
Mhm.
this, which is probably half the challenge. All right, so let me just build this a little stronger there. And we're going to, yeah, I think that'll work. So I think that her family, so I think this will work. This will work. Okay, so so this is the new sort of emerging model. So now you'll see that she has her femininity. Actually, I'm going to add her femininity back to the family because it's there already. If I had another flower, I would actually add it to the workplace.
I like that, and it does bring up another good point. If you just point to that yellow cylinder and say, "This is now a pink flower," it's now a pink flower.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm having structural integrity issues. So just bear with me while I fix my little model here because I'm not thinking about structure at this point in the game.
No.
I'm going to do this to give it some strength, which is actually probably not a bad thing from a representation perspective. All right, let me just do this and strengthen that. There we go. That's a little bit stronger. I'm liking this better because it's a little stronger. And actually, to be honest, it's kind of a little bit more fitting because it's a little bit more balanced, which I think is ultimately what women are wanting anyway. So I think I like this better. Okay, so this is a better model, I think. So you'll see here it's more of a tower.
Mm.
And where I'm kind of going with this is you've got this flower, which is more, I don't want to say it's behind her necessarily because this is her workplace now that you're seeing at the top of the chain. And you'll see that her family is sort of integrated right here, kind of in the model. So I think the thing that women are often challenged with is trying to figure out how to balance and still rise in their careers. And so they want to get promoted, but they're afraid to because they're worried about what the impact will be on their friends, their families, their relationships. And so this is a representation of them coaching through the process of figuring out what that balance is for them. And for every woman, it's different, right? Not every woman has the same level of balance, and what means balance for you might be different for someone else. But I kind of work through so that they have a little bit more balance in there, but yet still rising in there. And the flags are sort of like money, prestige, but
Well,
also
however they measure success,
satisfaction.
right?
Yeah, success. Yeah. Feeling successful, feeling accomplished, that kind of thing.
The other word that you threw in there that I really feel like that model shows is integrated. Before, it was very much two separate lives with this flimsy bridge in between,
Right.
and now it's one holistic life.
And thankfully, I fixed some of the integrity issues, but there's a little bit more stability in the structure as well now. So she can move around and not worry about pieces falling off, right? Which we always worry about as ladies when we're career driven. Is that again? I'm generalizing from a gender perspective here, but just because it's not. Some women don't worry about their family; they're career driven and they just do that, and they know that everything will fall into place. But others are really, really quite concerned about this, and this is sort of where I kind of help tease out
Okay.
some of the balance pieces. Yeah.
And let me use that. This is where I help. Of
Yeah.
So we started with one model, maybe how your clients are when they find you.
Yeah.
You built a model and went through a couple little iterations of how they might be
Right.
through your coaching. Has
Mhm.
anything new emerged with your how you might think about positioning, marketing message? Has anything new emerged through this for you?
Yeah, I think I don't use the word balance enough, to achieve balance between work life, career, and home life. I
Okay.
I I don't use that currently because 'cause I've always been under the impression that that's not what people are kinda looking for. Like, they want that, but that's not necessarily a problem. I don't know how to explain it any other way, but they don't necessarily see it as a problem that needs to be solved. It's just like, "Well, that's just the way it is. If
Okay.
I'm career driven, that's just the way it is." But
What
ultimately,
about
what
that?
I'm
What
yeah,
about the integrated part? I feel like that was a really interesting shift from two
yeah.
separate pieces to one integrated piece.
I think it's hard. I think the part of the challenge with, some of the executive clients that I've worked with is that they don't see how they can integrate their career and their family life. They see them as 2 separate parts. And so part of the coaching process is to get them to see how they can connect the dots or how they can connect the Lego in this case so that
Okay.
they can make it a little more integrated. And it might mean doing things like having boundaries. It might mean establishing new roles and responsibilities in the home. It might mean delegating more. It might mean like there's a number of things that integration might mean, and it might mean letting go of stuff that you always felt like you needed to control. And so it's that kind of because we're our worst enemies, right?
Mhm.
Like we want to do who else is going to clean the house like I do, and who else is going to be able to drive the kids like, and who else is going to make dinner, and who else is going to be able to do this work at work. And the reality is that we have to learn to delegate and let go in order for us to really be successful and to build communities. So this is also representative community. You can't just do everything by yourself. You don't get to the top on your own. You get to the top. And if I was to build this even further, I would add, I'm going to use these legs as representative of community or people. I would add people to the equation because you can't do it by yourself. Maybe you have to get a housekeeper. Maybe you need to get a caretaker for the kids for after hours. Maybe you need to ask your husband to step up a bit more around the house, that kind of thing. So it's that's how you integrate, right? Is letting go, looking at your options, figuring out where the challenges are, that kind of standard sort of coaching stuff.
I like that you added the help, and it occurred to me that you added the help. The family's right there, meaning to me that they helped too, right?
Yeah, they're part of the equation because I think women often feel like they have to do everything themselves because that's what we were sort of trained to do is to just step up and do. It's important for us to learn how to ask for help and not see it as a weakness and not see it as that you're being less than in
Yeah.
being a leader. Just I think women are worried that if they ask for help that they're showing some kind of vulnerability that might demonstrate them as being a poor leader in some way, but in fact I think the more you delegate and the more you confidently do that, the more you actually show up with executive presence. So I feel like you can do that at home and then hone your skills at home and then sort of translate it to work, and there's that balance. So yeah, the help is family as well as outside community for sure.
So I want to ask this kind of thing again of what is anything new emerging with all of this discussion? Because remember, our topic is not actually the clients themselves, but your
Yeah.
business building is where we
Yep.
started.
Yep.
Is anything else new emerging for you?
Well, I think the notion of building community is kind of important. Like, I think people forget this piece of the pie. So maybe there's a way that I could integrate that messaging where, I don't know exactly how I would do that yet. I'd have to give that
Okay.
some thought, but I maybe something along the lines of how to grow your support network so that you can become the leader that you're looking to be,
Okay.
and to have the influence you want to have, sort of thing. I guess that's the only thing that comes to mind right now.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
that's a thing. It's not the only thing. It's a thing.
it's a thing.
It's a new
Yeah,
thing that came to your mind, right? And
right.
you can explore that.
Exactly. This is
Anything
awesome.
else standing out to you as you just look at the model, hold it, manipulate? Just anything else standing out to you? If not, we'll set it aside.
No, I think that pretty much covers this.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty, actually shocked that this came out so quickly out of my brain, but anyway, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can think of right now.
All right. Well, there you go. You have an idea to look at how you might integrate community
Yep.
into your messaging, into your positioning, and think about what that might look like and what it might mean for you.
Right, exactly. That's
There you go.
awesome. Yeah.
There's a very short Lego exercise for you.
I
See?
love that. Absolutely love that. So thank you for this experience. It's very experiential. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you get anything out of this, for sure you need to contact Coach Sean, or just figure out what serious Lego play is. And there's some resources that you can provide for that, I'm sure. But yeah, this is a super fun exercise. I love this. This is
Right?
great. So quick question about this. From your perspective, sort of what are some of the biggest things you've seen in terms of either results or outcomes for clients that this can really help to enable? What are some of the things that you've noticed as a coach?
Once you take something out of your brain and make it tangible, it's much easier to really look at it and be with it and
Right,
examine it, right? And so, I mean, we'll build models of what's an obstacle or what's a goal, or and because you can build positive or negative models.
right,
And much like if we name our saboteurs, we already have a certain power over them. Well,
right,
you bring it into the physical world and you have even more, because now you can decide to rearrange it or take it apart. So bringing something from your mind into the physical world. The other part is, and I said this a little bit earlier, that it works the other way around too. If you just kind of start putting things together, you're creating physically, but you're also creating new neural pathways when you're
mm,
doing that,
right,
and you'll create something new in your hand and in your thoughts
right,
that didn't exist before. Um, so, I mean, specific results, like you just found a potential new marketing message. So
right,
the results are, I want to say, the same as coaching, but that doesn't mean anything. The results are you get more in touch with what's in your mind, and you get to examine it and look at it from different angles and manipulate it, and then decide what to take back in, what to action. We'll do it in a group setting, like we'll do team building, things like that, and you get
right,
insights into each other, not only into yourself.
right.
So, I mean, it's hard. It's without just telling you what each client does.
Yeah, of
It's not
course.
super specific, other than a lot more insight into what's in your own mind because you
Right.
build it and you sit with it. One
Yeah.
of the coolest things that see a lot is somebody will build something, and so there'll be that pink flower. That's a big one a lot of times. I'll say, "What is that pink flower?" And they'll go, "I don't know." "Oh, wait, I do know what that is." They their subconscious built it in,
Yeah.
or it assigned a value the moment I asked the question. You could call it either way, but they discover something because that piece is there, and they were like, "Well, I just thought it was a flower and I put it there, but now it means this."
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing when you asked me the question of, like, I noticed that the family is on the bridge sort of between work and her, and I was like, I didn't even think about that. That was like a subconscious thing I did. I didn't even realize it. And now that I'm adding some sort of value to it, I realize, oh, it's because she feels sometimes the family gets in the way of her career progression.
And
And not
and
in a bad way. It's just that's just life, right?
and
Interesting.
there's schools of thought and even white papers on both directions of either your subconscious put that there because you
Right.
knew it, or
Right.
you knew it the moment I answered the question. It's like
Right.
Schrodinger's cat, right? We don't
Yeah.
really know which way that works, but
Yeah.
the value was there at the end when the question got asked. So who cares which one came first? I don't care,
Exactly.
right? That
Exactly.
you discovered it. We'll also do and I didn't do it with you this time, but sometimes I'll say, "Oh, look." So you had a person. I could have said, "Look, kind of sit behind that person and look. What
Yeah.
do they see?"
Right.
And sometimes that actually reveals, "Oh, well, the goal, I built it here and they can't see it." Well,
Right.
there you go, right? So even the physical perspective of it
Yeah.
sometimes can have a meaning and an insight that it generates.
Amazing. So what's next for Coach Sean? What's on the horizon for you?
What's on the horizon? Um, Coaching.
Hmm.
One of my goals for this year is going to be to do some more public speaking presentation. I love public speaking. I wrote a book on it. To do more presentations and bigger group workshops kind of stuff. So I got to
Right.
figure that part out. And then I keep individual clients and corporate clients. I do team building and strategy creation, that kind of stuff. So
That's
continuing this,
awesome.
Legos are just fun. Like that, and the collection of Legos that I have is it's outside right over here because I just did a workshop earlier this week, and I have a massive collection of Legos. You said before that they're expensive. Let me tell you, like
Yeah.
they're
I've got
expensive.
bags and bags of them. I
Yeah,
just don't know whether to sell by the pound or what to do with it. There's just so much of it.
yeah.
With
Sell them
three
by
kids
the
over
pound
10
for sure.
years. Yeah. And I realize that that's a place of privilege for us to be able to afford those things. I want to be clear and transparent about that. We've been
Yes,
very lucky financially to be able to afford Lego for the
yes.
kids. But on the other hand, it also helped them to create as well because they didn't just follow the instructions. They were able to actually think outside the box and actually start to create things
Yeah.
for themselves. And I think that's a wonderful thing about Lego.
That's actually one of the things I don't like about Lego these days. When
Yeah,
you
it's
buy a
very
kit,
prescriptive.
it's meant to build one thing.
Yeah.
When I got Legos when I was a kid, it was a box of bricks and
Yeah.
it might have had a couple ideas, but that
Yeah.
was it. Now, I mean,
100%.
it's so specific and purpose built. You build this one thing, and I don't care for that as much myself.
It's funny because we're kinda different that way because I have an entire Disney castle downstairs because 'cause I'm a bit of a Disney nut bar
I
and,
Us too. We have season passes, timeshare.
right, right,
We love
and
Disney.
so and I have a tattoo, anyway, the whole 9 yards, and so, I have this huge castle downstairs that's on display, and it took me, the better part of a day to build it. It was a kind of a fun experiment and experience rather, but I gotta tell you, it was, instruction, 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 but I actually love that because it felt like it was like every step that you did was like a sense of accomplishment that you were
Yeah,
kinda getting this step done. But at the end of the day, you're right. There's actually nothing, for me at least, nothing really more fun than just sitting with the kids on the ground and just thinking about what you're going to build. And
you gotta make imagination. So
yeah,
so part of you said it in the beginning, right? If you want to be a creative, innovative company, you need to be a creative, innovative leader.
right.
So you need a creative, innovative coach. And creativity comes from play, comes
Yeah,
from just having fun and imagining, right? When we're kids, this little brick is a car, even though there's no wheels or anything,
right.
it's a car.
Yeah,
We get into the work environment, and especially you get into the higher ranks, and we get very stodgy and we wear
yeah,
dress shirts and jackets,
yeah,
and we forget just
yeah.
play, just tinker with an idea, just start drawing random things, start putting pieces together and see what happens. And that's what I try to bring back it, especially at a leadership level, is play, like have
Yeah.
fun. My goodness. Um,
That's how innovation really is
Absolutely.
lights up in an organization for sure. Well, Sean, this was an amazing experience. I appreciate you taking the time out to help me work through my tower of niche marketing.
There you go. I love it.
This is awesome. Didn't anticipate that, but it worked out pretty well. Where can people find you? I've got your website online.
Yep, coachsean.net. It's right there. If you want to email me, it's Sean@coachsean.net. I know there's 12 ways to spell Sean, but it's spelled just like on the website. So Sean@coachsean.net, or drop to the website.
Perfect.
People can set up 30 minutes with me without even asking. If you wanted to get some Legos, I'll send you Legos and a PDF to do your own self-guided introduction, and then we can do like a 45-minute, like kind of deeper work session if people are interested in that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, always happy to help out where I can.
Awesome. Well, if you guys are watching this so thanks again, Sean, for being here. I really appreciate the time you've taken. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe if you like this kind of content, but also comment down below. Did you think this was interesting? Would you love to have a session with Sean? Like really, truly, like comment in the comments. And if you're listening on podcast, I would highly encourage you click on the link in the show notes for the YouTube video so you can actually see the build for
Yeah.
yourself. It's a little harder to listen to this online, But if this is something that's of interest to you, feel free to reach out to Coach Sean. It was great having you. I really appreciate you taking the time. Hope we get
Thank
to
you
do this
so much
again
for
soon.
having me, and this was so much fun.
For sure. Take care.
All
Until
right,
next time,
thanks.
folks.